beautiful. I'm
Yes.
so impressed.
This piece is very underrated, I think. So why do I like it, first of all? I think it's a very, very good point to start with. I like it very much because, so what is a prelude? What is a prelude? Chopin, we know he wrote 24 preludes when he was in Mallorca. And the only score he took with himself when he went on this journey was actually the Volteperiertes Clavier, the Well-Tempered Clavier by Bach. So obviously 24 preludes, 24 prelude and fugue, he was obviously inspired very much. We can see also like the harmonic textures, the way he uses keys and everything. So, but then he decided to write another prelude on its own. And so the art of preluding, what it meant was actually also to improvise something before a certain piece or before the actual composition to start. So, and also many of the preludes by Bach, for example, are also very often in a sort of improvisatory style, on a certain pattern or something in this sense. So I feel that especially in this one, even more than in the 24s preludes, he captured very, very well this essence of what an improvisation is like. And already from the very beginning, so we are in C sharp minor, and already the second chord is actually B minor. So it's not, but it's, what do I mean to say by that? I mean that the harmony is traveling from one point to the other one. It's not really extremely defined. It's a little bit like wandering,
Yes, I feel that at the start, the music suddenly started. It's not, we have no preparation.
Yes.
It's just music started and it's very unstable. So harmony, directional, harmony, direction, we are not so sure.
Yes.
We just started.
Yes, and there's also the beauty of it, that it really, I could imagine him just sitting on the piano and just looking a little bit at even just the position of the hands. It's very pianistic what he does. So basically it's just to really experiment with the keys, and then he reaches, and then we reach this first really clear cadenza, cadence, and then happens another completely different thing. Then it starts actually the piece. And another thing that very characterizes the way Chopin writes is actually the use of the left hand throughout. I don't know, I can think of, or even, so this kind of left hand that is moving throughout the whole keyboard and is actually being used in a wide sense, also with the help of the pedal, of course. And in this prelude, it has especially, it reaches a great magnitude of this freedom. So all of these chords, they are always presented over a span of 2 or 3 octaves. So we really feel this sort of, I don't know, I would almost say we feel almost the spirit of the piano, because it's from the bottom to the high register every time. And you feel as if he would be really like playing with the very essence of the instrument. So the harmonies are very beautiful, and he always changes also here. It's not really very stable. He's always always modulating a little bit. Even he wrote to an editor, he wrote, "Oh, I like very much this piece. I did really very beautiful modulations." He wrote about himself. So obviously he liked this piece very, very much. And each time you play a new harmony, you have the time to experience how actually all the registers sound. And then the moment you reached, then there is this change almost of perspective, it's as if you would see a little bit through a crystal maybe. And you see like one color, and then you look a little bit, and you look from another color, of playing in a way with simple modulations, but very refined.
Yes, I feel that Chopin just it's everything maybe improvisation. He was writing down what came to his mind or what he felt. It's completely different from 24 preludes. I think it's more exquisite. He knew exactly what he wants to express with notes. So each note has its meaning, starting from number 1 to 24. So it creates a big kind of cosmos. But in this case, it's more like improvisatory, especially I think the end of the piece.
Right.
That's
when it was
very interesting.
that's really like pure harmony. But he's really just almost in a Lisztian way, almost like Liszt. Really these sort of never-ending passages.
Yeah, maybe as if he hasn't determined,
No,
he's meandering,
exactly.
he's lost his way.
Yes, could be going more and then with a little bit even of anxiety, like and almost losing himself. I would say in Italian there is this word sfumato, which means that basically like you have a color. And then slowly you start losing the color until you don't recognize anymore. It becomes colorless. And then the dominant chord and prepares the ending. Almost declamatory finally. There is something, one voice and really like recitativo, like speaking from almost operatic.
So for me, yes, most of Chopin's music is more like, in some sense, very classical, and the structure is very rigid in some way. So, but it's romantic, of course.
Yes.
But like in the case with Liszt or some other composers, more romantic, and also he's almost breaking that the restriction of the structure. So I think this piece is among the most among the pieces which make us feel that Chopin is very free. He's liberated.
Sure. Yes. Although you can even here you can feel, for example, this very almost Mozart-like, symmetry in some construction. Even though he's very very free. For example, we had. And then again the repetition. So it's even in such an improvisatory piece, he still keeps some kind of balance, some kind of symmetry, respect for proportions, I would say.
Maybe that's Chopin. That's
Yes.
his character.
Yes.
So he cannot change his character totally. But
No.
in this case, he's more free and more liberal than many other pieces.
I would say the trademark of this piece is, of course, this improvisatory character, but also the refinement of the modulations, because they happen really in a split second. It's not like a long process of modulating. It's really like a moment, like it has a pivot point. It has this, and so this very fine sense for when and how to modulate. I think it's great.
Yes, I think if he has a big structure in mind, such a modulation, very frequent in a way, but very sensitive, but very subtle modulation, very often. That sort of style, cannot persist in big structure. So this is improvisatory work. So that enables him to try such a strategy.
Absolutely. And that makes him also like really touch almost every key. He goes into like in B flat and in F. So it's really like an exploratory